Hello and welcome to Liverpool News Daily. I'm Tom Beattie and I'm here with Richard Garnett. It's my first time, I think, doing this, second time doing this. So I'm not sure how many times you've done it, Richard, but it's all a bit new to me.
I've done a couple so far in my short Liverpool.com career. I haven't hosted yet, though, so you put me to the post on that one. But yeah, nice informal chat, isn't it, for a Tuesday morning?
Yeah, definitely. And there's a few big items today as well, which is good. So yeah, obviously coming off the back of what was just an amazing game, really, wasn't it, at the weekend against Tottenham? It's probably one of the best, I think, in my lifetime. What did you make of it, Richard?
Well, I'm a little bit older, so I've seen a few 4-3s in my time. I was privileged enough to be at both of those amazing ones against Newcastle back in the 90s. Yeah. And to be honest, it reminded me of the second of those in the fact that obviously Liverpool kind of raced into a 3-0 lead and then just decided to press the self-destruct button. So I suppose that in the end, it's just an overall sense of relief to actually win the match. And of course, you're buzzing, aren't you, after a win like that, and emotions are high. But sorry to be a bit miserable, but the way we just let goals go in there it's just not sustainable, is it? You cannot win anything if you just concede goals like that, and which you'll see, and we have seen all season, really. So no shortage of drama. Everyone very much entertained. It was a great game, but we've got to sort something out about leaking goals, because that's just not good enough.
I mean, I think it's probably 5 goals now at Anfield past couple of games. So, like you say, I mean, we're leaking goals, but we seem to be going up the other end, thankfully, at the moment, and still winning games. But we know what the Premier League's like. You can come unstuck at any time. So I think we'll have to probably get a handle on that at some point, I think.
Well, it's a good job that we've got such an array of firepower, isn't it? And that's not necessarily been the case all season, has it? We took a bit of a while to adjust to the post-Mane era. And then obviously Gakpo's coming in the middle of the season. It took a few games to get going, but he's flying now, isn't he? There's no disguising the fact that he's keeping Darwin Núñez out of the side, because Klopp likes him in this system. He looks an intelligent player. And he brings other people into the game. And obviously Salah, I think had 7 games on the run he's scored at home. And Jota took a while, to get back on the score sheet, but he's now scoring goals. And then, of course, you throw into the mix of that the absolutely superb Luis Diaz, who are just delighted to see back on the pitch. He's such a great entertainer, but a brilliant footballer all the same. The two things aren't mutually exclusive, you know what I mean? It can be one and not the other, but he's both, which is fantastic. So it's a good thing that we're capable of scoring these goals, and obviously Trent weighing in with his assists as well as a big help.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously there's been a big upturn in form past kind of 5 games, really, particularly after the second half against Arsenal. I think we've kicked on after that, and obviously Trent's gone into this new role, the inverted fullback. So, it all seems to be going well. One person who doesn't seem to fancy our chances of making the top 4 is the former Liverpool striker, Michael Owen. What was your thoughts on his comments?
Well, you could say he's pouring a bit of cold water over it, but at the same time, I think you've got to be realistic, haven't you? Let's be honest. Let's look at the table. 5th in the table. So we've climbed there. It wasn't that long ago. We were about 8th or 9th, languishing. So that form table's looking a lot better now. Won the last 4. But of course, that's the most wins Liverpool have strung together all season. So we've got 5 left. So probably going to have to win all of them to have any chance at all of catching either Manchester United or Newcastle United. And if you look at their form guide between them, in the last 10 matches, only 1 has been lost, just 1 defeat for Newcastle. And, of course, that draw for United against Spurs the other week. It's difficult to see where they'll slip up, but we live in hope, don't we? So I've got to say, Owen's probably right, isn't he? Let's be honest. But stranger things have happened. And if we can just keep ourselves in the conversation to the end of the season, then, then there's something to play for, isn't there?
Yeah, they've got to agree there, really, because I think, obviously, we've left ourselves a little bit of a mountain to climb, I think, in terms of the points that we got up until about 5 games ago. And obviously, the teams in front of us don't show much sign of wilting as well, which is the concerning thing. But I think the key for us now, it's got to be kind of finishing the season strong. And I think the Europa League got to be something that we're really focused on getting now, because obviously it's not as lucrative as the Champions League. It's not as illustrious as well, but at least it's Europe, and we've got a squad built for that as well, of course. So I think all in all, obviously it's been a disappointing season, but I think if we finish it strong, there are a few positives to take into kind of the summer and next season as well. So I think I'm keeping hopeful anyway that we can maybe pull off a miracle, but like you say, I think it's probably a little bit too far gone now for Liverpool to make the top 4. I think that the second item we've got on our list anyway is obviously from the Tottenham game. For all the good in the game, the behaviour, if you like, of the manager Jurgen Klopp has been called into question. Obviously, when Jota's winner went in, there was a bit of an incident, wasn't there, where he kind of run up to the 4th official, and I believe there was an incident before that as well, and kind of comments probably going back and forth. But obviously there's the investigation going on into that now, Richard. So what were your thoughts on that? And obviously there's been a few comments kind of either way, in interviews afterwards and stuff. So it seems just a bit of a confusing situation at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I was actually working the game on Sunday from HQ, and so I had the benefit of being able to see a replay of Klopp immediately after the winning goal had gone in. And the first thing I thought to myself was, oh no, he's going to get himself a ban for that. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
And you can't, to be honest, you can't.
Yeah.
So, and obviously he's already been sent off earlier in the season. So probably got his emotions run high, especially in a game like that, when especially when you've blown a 3-goal lead. If they'd drawn that game 3-3, he'd have gone in back in the changing room there, absolutely livid. Because even if for all his criticism or dislike for the referee, he wouldn't have been able to get away from the fact that Liverpool had squandered their advantage, which they absolutely had. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the problem is they scored an emotional winner just, not even 2 minutes after Richarlison's dancing around doing the funky chicken at the Anfield Road end.
Yeah.
And you've had to suck that up, and then he's let his emotions get the better of him. And it's not like he's just by the club official, is he? He's right in his face. He's in his grid. It's not ideal. That's pretty much what he got sent off for, albeit slightly more aggressive manner earlier in the season. So the only thing I would say, the referee obviously saw it and booked him. He didn't send him off.
That's what I was thinking.
So there is a bit of a caveat in that, as to saying, "Oh, we'll throw the book at him," because the ref has the autonomy to treat that incident as he sees fit, and he could only book him, which is interesting. So, but having said that, there's been that much focus, hasn't there, on respect for referees and the incidents we've had with the linesman and Andy Robertson and Mitrovic and all those things. It just adds to the narrative, doesn't it? And so there will be a lot of pressure on the governing bodies to act on it, I think, and unfortunately, I think that will be his undoing. But that can have a knock-on effect now between now and the end of the season, couldn't it? So I guess if one of his own players was sent off for the same thing, he probably wouldn't have been best pleased. So unfortunately, he might have the double whammy of possibly a suspension and a torn hamstring for his troubles.
Well, obviously, it was a bit of strange incident in a way, wasn't it? Because it's obviously in the heat of the moment, and I do kind of expect the FA to come down pretty hard on him now as well.
Well, I was just going to say, sorry, Tom, I was just going to mention that actually. Speaking about the heat at the moment, when he was interviewed after the game, it was almost a bad idea. I know they're contractually obliged, but I don't think he sufficiently decompressed the situation before going to the cameras, and that come across. You know what I mean? Because just a couple of the things he said. I think you could make. No, I wouldn't have wanted to. Certainly didn't want to see Diogo Jota get sent off, but we once saw Sadio Mane sent off for less. Man City. I don't think he could have had many complaints if he had actually walked his foot really high, isn't it? Nor could there have been any complaints, I don't think, if Oliver Skip had been sent off as well. But I just think this whole sort of cocktail of incidents and emotions has not given him the best interview after the game, which is a shame. But might pay for it.
Yeah, I think he probably will, and it's a shame in a way because obviously it was such a dramatic win, but like you say, it might end up costing Liverpool in the run-in now. Obviously, there's I think 5 games to go, and if he's not on the touchline for a few of them, I do kind of think he has that influence from the touchline. He maybe gets us over the line sometimes, and he's that kind of an inspirational figure, I think, on the touchline for Liverpool. So he will be a big miss, but. Yeah, obviously, we'd have Pep Linders there, and we just have to make the best of it, I think. But yeah, but that's pretty much every item covered, I think, for this morning, Richard. Unless there's anything else that we want to go through.
The only thing I was just going to say, you touched on how even if they don't make the Champions League, finishing the season strongly and getting into the Europa League is important. Probably some supporters who would rather not be in the Europa League or Conference League and think, if we're not going to be in the Champions League, let's just have a clear season and focus on doing well in the Premier League like we did a couple of years ago. I wouldn't necessarily subscribe to that myself, to be honest with you. Don't forget, Klopp hasn't won Europa League. It's the only competition with you, unless you want to include the Conference League, the newly formed Conference League. It's the only competition that he hasn't won. The Reds. Not the end of the world going into that competition, but more importantly is the actual fact of finishing the season strongly, because we're expecting big changes in the summer, but he's already hinted that they might not be wholesale. So there could be new players coming in. There's players that's going to leave, but it might not be the full-on Chelsea obliteration that we've seen in the capital. But little changes. And if you look back to Brendan Rodgers' final season, his Liverpool side finished the previous season appallingly. It just went from bad to worse, ending with a 6-1 humiliation at Stoke, and that just carried over into the following season. And that is exactly the type of thing we need to avoid at all costs. And I do think that there's plenty to be said about finishing this season strongly, even if it does mean missing out on the top 4.
Well, I think there's practical and kind of financial reasons, I think, why we need to kind of finish the season strong, like you say. And, the thing is that as well, I think there will be certain aspects of our transfer business that might end up riding on, whether we do finish in 5th or maybe 7th. There'll probably be a drop in revenue that they've got to forecast for and that sort of thing. So that brings another kind of variable, if you like, into play. And also, I think looking back historically, you look back at 1976, 2001, they were kind of springboards for Liverpool in the future, I think, in terms of, winning major honours. I think we went on and won the European Cup a few years after, obviously, after 01 in 2005. And obviously we went on the run we did in Europe after 76 has, gone down in history now, obviously, the amount of European Cups we won, the late 70s and 80s. So it can be a springboard, I think, that competition. And I think that, Liverpool fans, I think, will embrace it as well, because the knockout round, you get some really big fixtures, I think, in the knockouts as well. So, it could actually end up being a not a blessing in disguise, but it's something I think we should certainly embrace. So,
well, if you pull out the positives, which we should always try and do whenever possible, shouldn't we? If you look at the group stages, a lot of those teams, they've played so many times, haven't they, at the group stage? So it's nothing new, and that takes a bit of the mystique away from those early knock-ins of the Champions League. So at least if you do end up in the Europa League, you will be, likely playing some different teams. And as you say, you might get some big matches in the earlier rounds, which should spike a bit of interest and a few different interesting away games for those that like to travel, new experiences. So it's not all bad.
Exactly, Richard. So obviously we finished it on a really positive note there, but hopefully the Reds can do the business in the final 5 games of the season. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it from us today. Obviously I haven't done this before, so I'm not really sure how we wrap it up exactly. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Richard, and up the Reds.
See you soon.
All right.